Got another cost of living question. This is a question that came in from a listener.
Okay.
Pete. Okay, here we go. Because of cost of living, how do you start a partnership and buy a house together with your kid? So let's say you're, 50s and your 60s, whatever else like that, and you want to buy a house with your kid.
You want to help your kid?
Yeah, help your kid buy a house. How do you do that? Let's say you're in your 50s now and you buy the house, and then let's say you die in your 60s. Like, what happens then?
I don't agree with it. I have two people that are trying to do this right now. Somebody came over last night and ran it by me about buying a house with a sibling. And then I had another client who's talking about buying a house with family, and I really disagree with it as a general rule. I mean, there again, I'm paintbrushing. There's probably situations where it's fine. I would be way more inclined for you to just co-sign for a loan and have them buy something for way less money. I think there's a bit of there again, I don't know this person's situation, but there's a lot of people that tend to feel like, hey, we're entitled to own a house with a big backyard. It's like, no, we're becoming an urban center. And similar to if you lived in Vancouver the last 40 years, like person's buying their first time home on the west side on a 8,000 square foot lot, right? Like they're just buying like an apartment in the sky. And I'm not saying it has to be that here, but unless housing prices crash a lot, which I think they're going to correct a lot, but I don't think they're going to crash. They're going to correct a lot. To me, it would make a lot more sense to help your kid get into a place that they can actually afford, they can do on their own. Because the problem is, independence is a beautiful thing. It teaches so many things that you'll never learn when you do something with a parent, right? So yeah, like a little nudge or a bit of help or a cosign or a help with a bit of a down payment, but to like be 40, 60 partner. And I could write a book on the amount of messy relationships that come from business partnerships. And there again, there's people that do it well. My experience personally and just watching others has been, it's a horrible idea as a general rule. And there again, I mean, there are families and people that have.
So you don't go into partnerships anymore, or you're just really?
No,
careful?
I'm married to my wife, and that's it, and that's enough. Like that's my motto. Like that's enough. Like there again, that's not true. I have one business partner, but he and I my wife says we're more married than her and I are, but that's BS. But like, there's just certain.
You'd rather sit with him on the couch?
We would definitely have more to talk about. Bad joke.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get skewered. No, I digress. Even that has its challenges. We've had sticky moments, we've had awkward conversations, and I just think it's totally fine. And it's, there again, that's a separate business that neither of us needs anything out of. We do it. We have the same vision. It's totally fine. However it plays out, neither of us care.
Yeah.
But most business and relationships aren't like that. And the thing is, this is where it really gets sticky. When you have a father with a kid, the father has more wealth. They have other kids typically that they need to help out. There's a power imbalance there.
Yeah, massive power
imbalance. The kid's along for the ride. And, just if you're going to help them, actually help them and let them be independent and do their thing, right? Unless you actually think they're a fool and they need a lot of guidance, or maybe they just really are terrified and you need to, that's part of you coaching them. But there's something beautiful of independence. So me personally, if in Chilliwack, a person had to decide between, hey, my son and daughter-in-law, or I'm just using that as an example, are going to buy the first place, I'd rather they live in a 2-bedroom apartment for $350,000 that they can barely afford on their own, rather than helping them buy a $650,000 townhouse that mom and dad own 3/4 of, because the loss needs to be theirs. If there's a loss, if there's an equity decrease, and if there's a gain, let them take the whole gain. And like, it starts to get messy, who gets what.
Yeah. Or move to Saskatchewan. I was just talking to my brother-in-law and this morning, and he bought a place last year, I think it's like 45 minutes or an hour north of Saskatoon for $80,000.
In the middle of nowhere.
For $80,000.
And it will always be worth $80,000.
Oh,
I just bought a commercial property in Quesnel, and we paid the same money, less money, $40,000 less than it sold for in 2007. Like,
but isn't that's fine.
It's
awesome.
fine if you don't care about if you just want somewhere to live, totally. Yeah. And I would argue that anywhere in the prairies will always be like that, because they don't have the ALR. Like in BC, we have the Agricultural Land Reserve, and I'm going to get skewered here now too for talking about, taking out farmland, but there's pieces in Chilliwack. I don't care how good the farmland is. Like, just strategically as a city, we need to decide that some of this land needs to be, into housing and kind of the city.
Did the city get to decide that?
No, it was the BC government made it in 1972.
Who regulates the ALR?
Well, the ALC does, the Agricultural Land Commission, and they are the most powerful. Like, there's nobody, you're not appealing to the ALC when they make a decision.
The premier can't even.
No. They appoint people that are on the ALC. And so depending on the government, like now we're going to have a conservative government, which there's probably people a little more pro-business and maybe a little less safe, but it won't matter. I mean, in our province, whether you're conservative or left leaning or whatever your political bent is, I mean, people feel very strongly about local agriculture, and I do too, like really strongly. I just feel like Canada's a big country, and when we have urban areas where we decide, hey, this is the nicest climate to live in, and this is where people want to live, like as much as possible, we should allow that. And the worst part is, back to the AL Agricultural Land Reserve, there are lots and lots of pieces in our area in Chilliwack that I know in particular that are totally never going to be farmland. Like they're horrible chunks of farmland, but we don't have any subjective wise people that say, hey, this guy the biggest reason that the land doesn't come out is because they don't want people to become instant millionaires. And that's what happens, right? So you picture somebody that owns a 30-acre piece of land. Right now it's worth $3 million. All of a sudden it's going to be worth $9 million or $12 million. No,
why don't they want that?
Because they don't like people getting rich. People are jealous. They think, oh, why shouldn't someone else get rich easy? There's literally that petty of reasons that people...
It's almost like people are sinners.
It's almost like people are sinners all the time, everywhere. Doesn't matter where.
You bleed sin.
Yeah, but anyway, so the ALR has been around for a long time, and there have been very controversial pieces that have been taken out, and there's gray area pieces like where Molson Coors is in Chilliwack. Like we're all going to agree that piece is not being used for farming. It's got a massive factory pounding out beer every day, but it's agriculture, right? Like it's taking wheat and other agricultural products and turning it into beverage.
Okay.
That was to do with the partnership. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. Pretty strongly, too strongly probably.
But if someone does want to go with partnership anyway,
how do they do it?
Who would they go talk to?
Seek wise counsel. They're going to talk to an accountant. They're going to talk to a lawyer, and they're going to talk to somebody that knows both parties that can speak truth to both of them and give them the pros and the cons. Okay. And most people don't do that. They sit in a table. They have no idea how to move forward. And one of them agrees to something that they shouldn't agree to. And it's usually the person that is
in the power.
Yes. Yeah. Power imbalances. And
so how do you do that in a company? Because this happens often in companies where...
Oh, I'll tell you right now, in a company, you're hooched. Like the president calls the shots.
Yeah. But I mean, but if you're the president of a company or business owner, you want to, of course, run a well-run business. You want to do well for your employees, stuff like that. You want to put yourself in a position where you can get called out if you're doing something offside, at least, but maybe not by your own employees, but at least by somebody else. Like, how do you protect yourself? Because it's not good to be surrounded by yes men. Like, you want good advisors. Good advisors are not yes men.
I think there's a swath of people that probably want to be challenged, but even me, if I had to be really honest with you, I struggle with that. It stings. And I'm a control freak, so I'd like to do it my way. But yeah, ideally, you have some people in your life that, and I have that with close friends. I have guys that will say, no, that's just not smart, or think big picture, or just like, why are you treating that guy that you know? And I've seen it enough where people have quit in other businesses, and I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, I'm kind of doing that. Hey, and I have lost people, right? And it's just like, no, you gotta. Yeah. People don't generally quit because of money. Like they do sometimes, and young people might for sure, because young people then tend to think grass green on the other side. But somebody who's 35, 40 years old, if they leave, they're leaving because of a seismic shift in their either how they feel about the business, or they're looking for something different. Or, anyways, we're turning this into a long episode, and I can feel the criticism coming. We got overtime yet.
You shouldn't worry about it. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help. If you're interested in doing that, you can create more content and improving the quality of the content. Subscribe to the podcast. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show?